Also, and I don't know if we'll have time to cover this. Did you know the song that goes, "Baby, are you down, down,
Hmm.
down, down"? 15 years old.
Wow.
It's now a nostalgic throwback song.
Oof, that's a bit hard hitting. Jeez. 15?
Yeah,
Too much. Too old.
time has passed.
Too old. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this second episode of Guess to Know Light, where it's just me and one other person. With me today, I have my good pal buddy Smaug. Smaug, thank you for being here.
Oh, hey, howdy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I just I'm still new at it. This is a whole experimental thing. I don't really know how this runs. I've done a couple so far. So the template of how this is it's just getting to know someone, not necessarily in an interview such a way, but kind of more of a just a bounce off questions. And the template today is there will be a couple questions and a little bit of review. So spoilers for the reviews because I'm sure we won't make them spoiler free. And then at the end we
Yeah.
kind of have a game we'll do, or more so for you to do.
I have no idea what the game is, so you're in for just as much a surprise as I am.
Perfect. Um, well, I am a big movie guy, as you know. We've known each other. Actually, before I even get into the first question, we've known each other for a long time now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
From
Technically, we met in high school.
we did, but
Technically.
we knew each other. We did well.
We
We knew
didn't
of each
really.
other. We didn't know
Yeah.
each other.
We didn't really get to know each other in high school because we ran with different crowds.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, those crowds avoided intersecting.
I
So
mean, yeah, it was weirdly clicky. Like, if you were a painter, you hung out with other painters, sort of, kind of.
yeah,
And
it was
if
very
you were
artsy.
a film student, you hung out with mostly other film students, I think.
Yeah, that was about it for the electives of choice of students. But no, mutual friend of ours much later. Hopefully, I can get him on the pod too.
Oh, that'd
Uh,
be awesome.
Made us cross our paths again, and now we're great friends. At least I'd say so. But
Yeah, yeah. And it's all thanks to mostly Dungeons and Dragons.
that is also true. That's very helpful with that. That started with a
It's a great conversation starter to jump into a role play situation with people because you don't really have to have that much in common to do it. You can kind of just like begin to form a get to know each other kind of thing by putting yourselves in these sort of game scenarios.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's cool, and you also get to know like two people at the same. You get to know the character and then the person.
Yeah, it tells you a lot about the way they think and what they value in the way that they role play, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of
Because
smart. I wonder how many people actually meet via Dungeons and Dragons, like meeting new friends and people.
I mean, I feel like it'd be a great way to get to know people if you move to a new town is just to find your local D&D group and try to join.
Hmm.
Cuz like then you immediately have something in common with everyone you're going to meet.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that because that being said, you DM'd a whole campaign,
Oh my
and I met
gosh, yeah,
friends
I did.
via that as a player.
Yeah, man, that was a nightmare campaign. I had too many players for that.
Well,
I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, but I was really proud of my work.
oh yeah, it was phenomenal. Live and learn though.
Yeah,
Okay, well that's a little just on us then. Being a big movie guy as I am, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite movie?
that's a tough one. I mean, favorite movie kind of depends on the day, but I'd say some solid choices are movies you could put on in any room and no one would be offended. Like Pirates of the
Hmm.
Caribbean 1, Kung Fu Panda 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. A lot of those first movies, really solid. You could really bring them anywhere and no one would really be like upset. Like you could watch them anytime.
Yeah, a
I, f-
good
I feel like they're really solid because they introduce a character. That character goes on a pretty solid arc. You get to know the other characters, the backup cast and crew. It's a good adventure, you know.
I think of the three examples you gave kind of fit in the genre of like a adventure family with comedy elements.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to love? It's kind of one of those inoffensive types of movie. I think
Mhm.
no one would argue that Pirates of the Caribbean 1's a good movie though.
Oh, I'm not against it. I like the first Pirates. I actually like the first three Pirates very much.
I've heard that it was really refreshing for the genre when it came out because like swashbuckling movies up until that point kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, not a lot of movies actually focused on that as like their whole main genre part. Like there's some, what was it Muppets Treasure Island Came out
Yeah,
in the
ironically,
90s.
that's like the best pirate movie that came out since the last genuine swashbuckling movie was Muppets Treasure Island. It's
Yeah.
a solid one, but like it's still funny that the Muppets, although the Muppets really do have a couple of bangers.
Oh yeah. No, no. Would you consider Princess Bride a swashbuckling movie?
Well, they spend so little of it on a ship. I
But the
mean,
dreaded Pirate Roberts is like a
I know
good chunk.
it's a major plot point, but most of the scenes are set on land.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
kind of hard to say.
definitely people would say fantasy movie above all, but I
Yeah,
just think
yeah.
it has a good pirate
I don't
element
know
in
if I
it.
could call it a genuine pirate movie if, like, rodents of unusual size and a six-fingered man, all of which are on land, mind you, take up the majority of the scenes that we see. But, an
I guess
argument
so.
could be made.
You still got the screeching eels.
You raise a fair point. I don't remember the Screeching Eels, though, but that might just be me. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I gotta get to it.
Okay. Well, that's a good understanding though of like what you think is a favorites, kind of like in that vein.
I'm a big fan. Like, listen, I love high concept art films and things like that because I am an artist. You and I are both artists.
Oh yeah.
That's what we went to school for, and that's our passion. However, I gotta say, if you want to pick a favorite movie, it's got to be a movie you can watch while you're sick.
Okay.
Because it's a comfort thing, like comfort film. Kind of like how I know everyone's like, oh yeah, my favorite food is like baby back ribs. And it's like, no, your favorite food is what you want when you don't feel good. Like when,
Okay. A
because
favorite has or doesn't have to be, but you're saying a favorite should be comforting to the individual.
in some way, yeah, I think trying to proclaim that something that you only like when you're at your best is your favorite, it's not really your favorite. Because, like, when you're feeling down, you come crawling back to Pirates of the Caribbean 1. That's what you do.
Mm, okay.
Like, I appreciate and respect that everyone's like, my favorite film is this big, grandiose thing. Like, maybe it's I don't know. Maybe let's say that your favorite movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a really good movie. It's a wonderful one. I would not watch that if I had the flu. I would get so lost.
I see what you mean.
I would get so
Yeah.
lost. Like it's really good, but I get
Yeah.
so confused if I'm not at 100% locked into this film. I would get like lost in it, but I would not get lost in Kung Fu Panda 1.
I see. I see. Yeah, I guess to fit with that, my favorite movie is The Prestige, but that would not fit with
No.
what you're explaining. So
But you also value different things in film than I do.
that's
So
true.
I'm
But
not saying that your choice is wrong.
mhm.
Not at all.
I just think one that would fit more of that sickness comfort feel that would fit was probably be first thing that comes to mind for me of what I value a lot in Mitchell's versus the Machines.
That's a solid choice. You've showed me that movie and it's a really cute one. I mean, you kind of come crawling back to these movies one way or another over and over and over again. We're at the time of year where everyone watches what is it, the Rankin Bass
Oh
Here
yeah,
Comes
the
Santa Claus over and over and over and over and over again. Year after year. You've seen this film before, but you're gonna watch it again because it's Christmas and it's just like there's a sadness in you, and the sadness in you gets taken away by watching cute little puppets do the Santa Claus thing.
yeah. Yeah, the rank
It's
people have their Christmas traditions of
oh yeah.
films that they need to get a Christmas Story. You got those families. You got the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation people. You got the
Yeah.
Charlie Brown Christmas, and then you
Charlie
got
Brown
people like
Christmas
me, and it's Die Hard. So
Charlie Brown Christmas is so cute because you can hear the kids reading the script for like what sounds like the first time as they're doing their lines. Like Charlie Brown, every line delivery feels like he has just been handed his lines and he's reading them in his hands as what a wonderful season this is. All the snow is like you
okay,
could,
yeah, but that adds the
yeah.
charm of the overall film.
It doesn't feel quite as rehearsed and overproduced as some things today, where they hired a voice actor who can do a good kid impersonation. They
Mm,
just hired a kid.
just get the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, he doesn't have to be good. It's Charlie Brown. That's kind of the point.
I guess so, but
Although
mm,
Linus knocks it out of the park. I don't know if you remember, every scene Linus is in, he's got a rehearsed sound to the way that he talks.
well, he has a whole speech.
Yeah, where he goes over like the point of Christmas.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Linus in the Christmas one is mostly just there to comfort Charlie with being on the brick wall, and then when they go pick up the tree.
Yeah. But okay, here's a good example. The other peanuts are talking to Linus and they're like, "Yeah, it's stupid blanket that you've got." Long pause. "What are you gonna do with it when you get older?" And then he, with a good amount of influx, goes, "Maybe I'll turn it into a sports coat." Like as though he's read it before. So I feel
Hmm.
like maybe they got someone to play Linus. Because they knew he
I
was gonna have
don't
to.
know.
Something to think about.
Yeah,
That's my conspiracy theory of the day.
that Linus is secretly an adult who
Either an
goes through their
adult
lines
or a
multiple
kid
times.
who was given his lines in advance.
Interesting. That adds a lot of curiosity how the Charlie Brown films were made. Because I know it's
Yeah.
very different with the, I don't know what year it came out, but the new, I don't think it was
Oh
Illumination,
yeah.
but the No
No.
Schnapp
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and it was also different because back in the day they didn't have funding. You remember the original It's a Christmas Charlie Brown thing had a Coca-Cola ad in it because that was part of who funded it.
Yes, vaguely. Unlike
They've
a,
removed it from most of the modern iterations of that animation because it's not needed anymore.
yeah.
And I think Coke pulled their funding as well because they're like, we're too big for a Charlie Brown Christmas. We don't want to be in this anymore.
Hmm.
I don't super know how all that went down. That feels like it's more your wheelhouse than mine, but
Yeah, no, yeah, when like on cable TV being recorded off of
yeah,
VCR and you
yeah,
get
yeah. You get
that,
the version with the Coca-Cola ad in it.
yeah.
Like
But
they're
now,
sledding and they go past a billboard with a Coke sign on it, I
hmm,
think.
and then a couple years back you had the,
Either that or I'm having a Mandela effect moment and I fully just made that
no,
up.
no, I think there was a Coca-Cola or some kind of brand advertising in the beginning, not in the cartoon, but to like start off the thing.
Yeah, yeah, no.
It's not like the,
It's in like it's got to be like in the opening few minutes of that.
yeah,
Because they get to the Christmas stuff pretty fast. They do their little ice skating scene and then they go like to the
yeah,
Christmas
Snoopy
play.
crashes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's, or Charlie crashes, I think. Snoopy does
Yeah, it
figures,
had to
but
be in that opening scene.
okay.
But
It's not like Star Wars New Hope, where I think it was in Spain or Brazil. I think it was Brazil, maybe. Where, do you know what we're talking about? In New Hope, where they add in the alcoholic beverage scenes in the movie,
no,
where
I
like
don't
Obi-Wan
remember.
goes to look for the lightsaber to give Luke, and he pulls out a beer.
No, I don't remember that, but that's hilarious.
Oh, I'll see if I can find those for you later. But
Yeah, I kind of want to see that now. But yeah, no, the movies back in the day used to have like egregious product placement, and people complain about it today, but it's always been a thing.
yeah, let's see here. A couple more questions. What is something, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a movie. What is something you love that the majority of people around you that you know hate?
Ooh, there's so many options. I don't have the most controversial opinions, but once in a blue moon, I've got some food hot takes that would well, I'd make some enemies. But I think if we're talking about more film,
It can be
see,
anything you choose. Just
if we're leaning more towards film, I think already my idea of what your favorite movie is controversial enough where it's like your favorite movie isn't the coolest movie you know. Your favorite movie is the one you could watch any day. Like
oh, I
whether it's
see.
good or bad. That's a pretty hot take. But if we're looking for a secondary hot take, I would say that if you're tired of the tropes from wherever you live, you gotta watch movies from other countries.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you think a lot of people aren't for that? Or
I
a lot of people
mean,
you
they
know.
think they want new things, but the second they're presented with actual new things, they're like, I don't understand this. It's not good. It's bad. Like
Okay, yeah.
movies from Bollywood, people will say they're bad because they don't understand any of the tropes or any of. There's also a couple of Bollywood movies where they have scenes set in America and they do like a high production dance number in front of like American flags with barbecues and stuff, and people are like, this feels weird. And it's like, yeah, that's how it feels to other people when we put them in movies.
Yeah.
Like Mexico when it sees the Mexico filter.
The orange, you mean the orange and
Yeah,
brown?
yeah, the orange.
The
What?
dust.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh. Well, I know a couple people in my wheelhouse that it's like you turn on a movie that has subtitles, they're automatically done with the
Oh
movie.
my god, I swear that's also because people hate to read.
I can see how, especially on a first time, you're reading, you're watching the subtitles. You're not actually like taking in the whole imagery.
Yeah, it does make it hard to process everything that's going on, but like at the same time, I can't always say the dubbed version is better.
Yeah, certainly, there's some dubs.
If there exists a dub, especially if it's of a live action film, it like great example. I love Godzilla movies. I love watching them at this time of year. It's a Christmas tradition of me to watch a bunch of campy old Godzilla movies. There's a couple of them where they tried to do an English dub, and every single time they do, it feels like a fever dream because you'll have people who, because the way that the mouth is moving and the
Doesn't
words they're
sync
saying
and-
doesn't line up, they do the speed racer thing where it's like, today I was going out to...
I'm in the middle of a race, Trixie. Don't talk to me now. Can't you wait till it's over? Why should I let him win? I'm out to win myself. Now sign off and don't bother me.
How about you? And you're like, I didn't catch half of that? What was that? You want to run that by me one more time, buddy? And so you'll back it up, and it makes no more sense the second time going over it. And it's because they took all these mouth movements, and they're like, well, we could fit so many words into this. Let's try it.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. One of my, another one just comes to mind. One of my favorite, I guess, foreign subtitle movies is Parasite. I think it's really good.
Won a bunch of awards, didn't it?
Yeah, but I've recommended it to people, and they can't get through the first 5 minutes because of subtitles.
Yeah. I mean, subtitles are not for the faint of heart, I suppose. But I think we all grew up with a little bit of anime, so we've all developed at least, I would hope we've all developed a little bit of a tolerance for it. Early anime dubs were a nightmare.
Well, yes, but some people were raised only on dubs.
Early anime dubs were a nightmare. Do you remember the part in Pokemon where they edited over the actual animation to put, like, a jelly donut in it? Or like a sub... No, they put a sub sandwich. They put a sub sandwich in the Pokemon anime to avoid having to explain what rice balls were.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, they did that.
Oh.
Dude, anime dubs back in the day were wild.
Yeah, really tailoring to the American audience of...
Well, they tried to, because I guess they were trying to bridge the gap and popularize these things with a Western audience. You know, it's just... It's popular now, but back in the day, they were trying to get people interested. Pokemon already had a foot in the door because kids loved these games.
Yeah.
But trying to sell the anime that they were making... Yeah, that was another issue, because again, it's also like baby's first introduction to Japanese animation tropes. Thank God they didn't have as many of those tropes in the Pokemon anime as they do in some of the other animes that were popular at that time.
Yeah.
Why do they always want to show off women's underwear? Why? They still do it.
Trope. Yeah,
This is for children. Fun game to play with people who don't watch anime, because they're way more sensitive to it than you are. Show them any anime that you love off the top of your head, and the moment they point out the first, like, women's underwear scene that you have completely blanked out of your mind, you have to take a shot.
Oh, well, really depends on the anime, but I don't think that it's going to be as bad as it could, but...
No, it's nowhere near as bad as it could, but if you're marathon watching an anime, it's going to come up at some point, and then you can bust out something nice.
Especially a beach episode. Certainly a trope that gets thrown in a lot.
Don't get me wrong, I love filler so you can get to know characters and stuff, but yeah, the trope of the beach episode, it's really hit or miss. Sometimes, like Avatar The Last Airbender, where it's the Fire Nation kids doing the beach. Yeah. That's fun, because you get to see their different personalities outside of combat in a way that you don't usually get to, because these are the antagonists, so you don't get to know them as well. If we're talking about, like, I don't know, pick any random anime off the top of your head. Nightmare.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Rise of the Shield Hero, but the beach episode in that is very short, because they continue the story, and it's just, I think, for seeing the characters in outfits. Yep.
It interrupts the pacing. Nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we've kind of covered it, because the original question here was something you love that other people hate. The follow-up question was, what's something you hate that everyone loves? And
That's
it
a
could go
good
the other way.
question.
People could love beach episodes.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. They definitely could, and I understand why. Like I said, it's a great way to get to know characters outside of a combat setting. But there are other ways you could do that. Bringing it back to the Pokemon thing, the beginning of the Entei movie. Do you ever see that one?
I don't think so.
They have the characters having a Pokemon battle, but it's in like the kind of low stakes, just for fun way that it should. Like, it usually isn't. Normally it's like I want something and you're stopping me from doing it, so we're gonna have a battle. Like for gyms and stuff like that. This is just like two people meet and they're like, you wanna make them fight? And they just do it. That's how that opens. That's how they do the credit scene on that, with the opening credits, I believe.
Interesting.
And they got it set to some cutesy music, and it's just kind of an interesting way to, with low stakes, before we get to that whole movie was a drug trip, all right? This girl's dad, I'm just gonna explain the plot real quick, because I feel like I dreamed it up, okay? I know it exists. And
I know it exists too. I know what it is. I just haven't seen it.
A girl's dad goes to ancient ruins, finds unknown, which are just alphabet soup. They're just letters with eyeballs on them. And the letters kidnap her dad and replace him and show up at the kid. Like, he has a kid. They show up at the kid's house, if I remember correctly. And they just, like, they're like, here, we took your dad, but here's your dad, and he's Entei now. So Entei's not real. Entei's, like, fictional, and they're just giving her whatever she wants to placate her. Well, I guess they kidnap her dad or something. And then
odd.
They turn her house into a giant, like, Cinderella castle made out of crystals and stuff. And somehow Ash and the gang get roped into this for reasons no clue. I don't know how. I think maybe the unknown summoned Ash out of thin air because she asked to battle somebody, because she's a little kid and she doesn't have a Pokemon yet. So she's like, I want to have a Pokemon battle. And so they kidnap Ash to fulfill the wants of this girl that they've decided to babysit for reasons unknown.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then they kidnap Ash's mom and she gets roped into it. And then, like, the castle starts growing with crystals and stuff because they're finding it harder and harder to placate this girl. And
Smaug, it sounds like I gotta see this movie.
It's an insane movie. It feels Ghibli-esque in that I don't understand. It feels like there's something, like, this is what I'm talking about. If you want something new and something refreshing to you, watch a film from another culture. Because I'm sure if you've grown up in Japan, all of this makes perfect sense. And all of the Studio Ghibli movies make perfect sense. And all of the things they introduce, you know, because you've grown up with them, they just make more sense than they do here. For me, it feels like I've just dropped acid.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, you'll sit through Spirited Away for the first time as a kid, and you'll feel like, just a little bit, somebody took the guide rails off of reality for a little bit. Because you don't know what's happening or why her parents have turned into pigs, because you don't understand that it's because they went and they ate stuff they weren't supposed to, because that's not your culture. That kind of rudeness is kind of expected in American culture. Like, if somebody's got food laid out, and it's like a buffet style, like it's an event, like a catered event, yeah, you could probably walk up and you should ask, but you could probably take the food. You don't get cursed with being turned into a pig.
Yeah, it's a little much, but different culture, different.
Yeah.
Could it have symbolism or meaning behind it? Or
Oh, totally. And a lot of those things, now that I'm an adult who can Google stuff, they make sense now because I can learn about it. But when you're a kid, oh my god, it does not make any sense. And it's like the first time you've ever seen anything like it. So it's the freakiest stuff.
Huh. All right. Well, I think that answered both those questions.
Like, technically, I mean, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at this.
No, that's fine. Question I ask all my guests or friends, I'd like to know, that I think is like my box of chocolates, like really gets to know someone a bit. Who is your favorite Batman villain?
That's a great question. There's a lot of good options on that one. Because there are villains that didn't start out good, but then they became good with what was added to them later. Like, Harley Quinn was nobody when she first showed up. But
yeah, real
now
sidekick.
she's got her own show, and it's kind of good.
And she got her own movie.
Yeah. And, okay, the Suicide Squad movie, we all agree was terrible, but...
The first one. I was referring to the Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah, no, that one was good. That one was, like, pretty good. All things considered, especially given the bar that was set by Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And then the Suicide Squad. Much better.
And then there are villains that I don't feel like have aged as well. Like, for example, I'm not saying that Clayface is, like, a bad villain. He's, to my knowledge, going to get a movie pretty soon, right?
There's rumors he is the villain in the next Matt Reeves Batman movie.
Yeah, so maybe they'll give him a much-needed glow-up. But as of right now, he's kind of like a bygone-era villain. We just don't really...
I think he's connected to the Creature Commandos show, I think.
Maybe? I don't know. It feels like... Of the Rogues Gallery, that one kind of started out as a big deal and then became a nobody.
Well, I think more and more, especially since due to Nolan's realistic approach to The Dark Knight, I think a lot of the...
More wacky and whimsical villains. Yeah, just wiped off the map.
More so, yeah.
Yeah, they did not let Bane have any of that Venom stuff.
No.
No. We can't have any of that. It's too fun. We can't have it.
Yeah.
Also, and I've been over it, the mixing on that third movie, the sound mixing on that third movie is ass.
You've talked about that a couple times with me before.
I'm so sorry. I'm still so mad about it. We were trying to watch it in... we were in the apartment. We were trying to watch it, and we had to keep adjusting the volume so we wouldn't get a noise complaint. Because, like, you turn up the volume to hear what Batman is saying, because, like...
Quiet little girl, and then
an explosion, and then Bane will speak. Because they didn't mix him well at all. I'm not even an audio guy, and I know that they did a bad job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I had the same complaint with Jurassic World Dominion. I think the audio's all over the place on that movie.
Yeah. I actually kind of think that the sound mixing on the first Kingsman movie is also kind of bad, if I'm being honest.
Oh.
You hadn't thought about that, have you?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever... I don't think so. I'd have to, like, rewatch it and, like, listen to see, but in my head, I think it's fine.
I remember in theaters, maybe it was the theater we were in, but there was a scene where they were in, like, an elevator or something, where something was blowing up down at the bottom, and it was so loud. It was so loud. I actually got, like, a tear in my eye, because it was just...
pain?
Yeah.
Like, ooh, jeez.
It was it was wild. Now, granted, that might have been the theater, but I feel like it wasn't, because they can't make that out of nothing. There had to be, like, audio for them to do that with, implying that the mixing was bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, neither here nor there. I still haven't answered the question. I want to say Poison Ivy because we're both botanists, and they have definitely done more with her character than just being a femme fatale, so that's fun. I love an eco-terrorist. Come on, it's fun. Don't quote me on that. That sounds so bad out of context. Oh, God. But, like, at the same time, you kind of also have to side with the classics. Joker, for every iteration, has always been good.
Nope.
What do you mean, no?
Jared Leto.
You know what? I have to
I'll
eat
stop
crow
you right
on that
there.
one. Yeah. You're just right. And when you're right, you're right. All right, we're going with Poison Ivy.
Okay. That's a good answer.
I feel like it's a boring answer, but it's...
No, that's totally fine. I think the big name ones are the boring answers. Or like a very easy... Like Joker. Very easy... I think that's a good answer for people who don't know a lot of villains. A lot of Batman villains. But he's got a huge rogues gallery. But if you said something like Condiment King, like a jokey thing, or The Eraser, or...
Calendar Man.
Flamingo. I think just Flamingo is one of the villains, and he's on a motorcycle, but...
I mean, you ran us through the Arkham games, and we saw a couple of them, but they don't actually dig that deep into Batman lore to look for those villains. No, they do not have Condiment King.
No, not in the Arkham games. I don't think so. I don't think he might be like
honestly, I feel like Harley Quinn, because they bring Kite Man into it.
In the Arkham games?
No, Harley Quinn, the show.
Oh, yes.
He's in it. And again, I'm not the biggest Batman nerd, so it was the first time I'd ever heard about Kite Man, and I had to sit there for a minute, and I'm like, you cannot be serious.
Yeah, he's a real one. He's a silly one.
Fully serious. Yeah, they were fully serious.
Okay.
Batman's wild.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I love it.
I know.
So Poison Ivy, good answer. Looking at our time, trying to keep this not super long. Let's go into like 2 movie coverages we've done.
Sure.
You and I this year saw 2 movies in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
The first one, which I think you're very excited to talk about, was Monster Summer.
Oh my god. That was my idea to go see that, because I saw one advertisement for it, and I'm like, this looks bad, but entertainingly so.
And I saw an advertisement for it the day you invited me to go see it.
Probably because I mentioned
knew nothing about it.
Yeah. I saw an ad for it in theaters while I went with my friend to go watch the Beetlejuice 2.
Yes.
We saw an ad for it, and I sat there in theaters, and I'm like, oh, I want to see that one. And she's like, why? And I'm like, 'cause it looks bad.
You said it looked like, I think you told me when you pitched to me, you said like a cruddy Stranger Things.
Stranger Things season 1, but without some of the, like, vision of, like, let's bring MK Ultra into this. Where I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen in this film, because it looks like somebody's first film or something. Like, it looks like a It was. It was.
David Henry, is that who it is?
I can't remember.
It's the guy who plays Justin Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place. It's his first directing movie.
And, like, I think there's something, like, I talked about it earlier when I was talking about films from other cultures. Another great one is films from people who are just dipping their toes into it. Like, they've got something that drove them to start a career in film.
Yeah.
Like, they have a vision that hasn't been fulfilled yet. So even though it's not the refined version of that vision, it is something new hitting the scene. Right?
Yeah.
So, like...
also, audience, possible spoilers. I don't know how free or not they will be. So, just going forward.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, so you don't have to refrain yourself from saying something.
I thought you were about to drop the biggest, like, lore reveal about the Monster Summer, a film that 4 people saw collectively in that theater.
There were 2 of them.
Yeah, we were 2 of them.
But I don't want to refrain you. If you want to say Baseball Witch, you can say Baseball Witch.
Oh my god.
Which has become a new running joke between the 2 of us. If something's really crazy, it's Baseball Witch crazy.
So, yeah, I don't know, do we even catch everyone up on what that...
We don't have to go really far. If people are interested in what the heck that even means, go watch Monster Summer.
Yeah, do it. It really does feel like... Do you remember the Nancy Drew movie?
Very minimally.
Or
very
like
small.
Kit Kittredge.
Even less so. I don't know what that is.
God. I don't know. As a person who was raised with a lot of girl movies, I do have a sister. And we watched a lot of Barbie movies and that sort of thing. It's, if you've seen one of those kinds of girl solves mystery movies, it feels a little bit like Scooby-Doo, but just one gal. It's just Velma, and she's solving this on her own steam.
I saw Noel Holmes, if that counts.
I don't know if it's the same. I mean, not the point. The point is, Monster Summer really does feel like one of those, like, teen girl solves mystery, like local town mystery on her own steam because she's all that in a bag of chips. It really feels like that, except. It's
a teen boy and Mel Gibson.
Yes, it's a teen boy and Mel Gibson, and he's trying to resuscitate his best friend from becoming a zombie.
Yeah, I really thought it would be a lot cooler.
Because Ben was like the coolest character in that.
I went into that movie
15 minutes.
not knowing much, and it said Monster Summer. I thought there would be far more monsters.
I know.
Thought this witch was turning kids into monsters. Like,
honestly,
the first Ben, I guess, in the ocean, I thought it would be like the Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Because it was in the water.
We both speculated so hard on what it was going to be. And the interesting thing about that, like I was talking about, we didn't know what it was going to be because it was a guy's first film.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't know what it's going to be. You don't know. It could be like Eldritch Horror. It could be like that one episode of Digimon where all of the weird fish people invade the school and it gets weird and then they drag you to the Cthulhu realm. Like,
it could have been like one of those weird Goosebumps episodes where it just, like, the last, I don't know, quarter of the movie just goes off the rails and just gets real weird.
It could have been like Scooby-Doo Zombie Island,
Oh.
Where
Yes.
like people
You
think
think
that
they're
it's a
fake?
mundane threat, and then it's like an actual like Lovecraftian nightmare at the bottom of the local lake.
Yeah, I fully forgot. I forgot Kevin James was in the movie.
Yeah.
He's just like a news reporter
And there was
dude.
another guy in it too. The baseball witch. The titular baseball
Oh yeah,
witch.
the Hamilton Porter from Sandlot.
Yeah.
Like the kid in the
Yeah.
Sandlot.
The titular baseball witch was the umpire from baseball. Sorry, the baseball umpire
Sandlot,
from
yeah.
Sandlot. I got that backwards. Yeah. They got. So he's still playing an umpire. It's just, there's a twist. He's a baseball witch.
Yeah. What would you rate the movie out of 10?
You know, that's a hard one, because intellectually, I know this film is bad. I know it's truly bad, and it deserves maybe, at best, a 4.
Okay.
But I was entertained. It was exactly what I wanted it to be, which was bad, but in a fun way. Not bad in a, like, you sit there and you're like, I paid how much for this? Kind of way. So, in my heart, I want to give it like a 7, or
Okay.
like a 7+, like 7 point something. But in terms of actual film analysis, I know that's really unprofessional to just be like, well, it brought me joy.
It sounds like, well, you could do an objective, the film made 4 out of 10, but your enjoyment of the film, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Like I said, if you've ever seen like a girl solves mystery movie, you will know exactly where this is going the entire way through. They're gonna have somebody they think is the witch, and then it's not the witch, and then it's somebody else. Woo! So it's very beat by beat something you've seen before. However, I enjoyed that thing that I've seen before, and I found it to be charming. So I'm gonna give it like a 7 personally, and then like for like an actual film score, like a 4.
Okay. I think I gave it a 5 out of 10, because it certainly could be better. But it could have been way worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it so could have been. They could have. Like, the challenging thing as well with a lot of these films is nobody knows how to write dialogue for kids.
Depends. Some people can.
Some people can, but it's a rarity.
Yeah.
It is a rarity. Almost to the point where I forgive bad kid dialogue. Because, like, there will be a kid sitting there waxing poetic about, like, what the end of summer means, and an average teenager doesn't know any of those words. They would not talk like that. He would not say that.
No.
You know, that meme of like, he would not say that.
No, and they went very heavy with a red herring.
Yeah, they did do a pretty solid red herring on that. In that, I said in theaters, because I really cannot recognize people by face, I'm like, is that Carrie Fisher? And then I paused for a minute and remembered she's dead. Very dead. So no, it's not.
No.
But they did get her for, like, a film. It's called, like, Wonderwall or something. It's not actually called Wonderwall.
Carrie Fisher and Wonderwall.
No, it's like you're going to have to look it up, because they got her for some weird art film, which is, again, it's like a girl solves mystery kind of...
Thingy mabobber thing?
I can't explain it. I sat through the first half of it, and again, it feels like a fever dream. It felt like that they got Oprah Winfrey for a movie about... forgetting the title. Oh, God, what a terrible time to forget the title. They keep getting influential women for strange art films.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
That example is, but...
I'm trying to remember. It doesn't matter. We gotta move on.
Yeah. All right, so that's our little coverage on Monster Summer. We'll go to another coverage, older movie, but we also saw it in theaters this year for its 15th anniversary. We saw Coraline.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Coraline is a classic. Leica Studios did such a good job adapting that book into film, because, like, they made so many choices to make sure that it would translate. Because a lot of the book that I have read this book. I want that on the record that I've read at least one book.
I'll put on the record, I have not read the book.
I know. Oh my God.
Maybe someday, but I just have not yet.
I tried to send you the audiobook for it, but the YouTube content system did take it down before you could get to it. So yeah. But in the book, she's suspicious of other mother on launch. Like, she shows up and she's immediately like, your fingers are too long and I don't like your face. I want to go home. That's Coraline in the book. They couldn't do that for the movie because that requires too much internal, like, child dialogue, and they've also aged her up a little bit, so it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So she buys into the fantasy a lot more in the movie, but it's for pacing reasons, so it's correct. Like, you can't, the conflict cannot just manifest that fast. It makes this go from being like a fun and kind of spooky Nightmare Before Christmas thing to, like, I don't know, a Saw film. Where it's like problems on launch.
But it's believable for both sides. Like the aged up one would definitely be more apprehensive and see where it's going. The kid would be definitely 180 of, I don't like this.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah. You're not my mom. Easy. Done. Go with that feeling.
Yeah. Coraline also, and I love to remind everyone, in the book, she's British.
Yeah, not at all in the movie.
Yeah, in the book, she's British, and in the movie, she is from Oregon. Which we're from Oregon, and Leica Studios is from Oregon, so that feels good because it feels like, you know how they always say like, talk about what you know, don't try to make stuff up that you don't know about because you're gonna do a bad job. Just play to what you know, play to your strengths.
Yeah.
So they did do that, and I admire it because it takes a lot of like self-restraint to not go all out and try to pretend like you stand a chance of telling a story set in another country.
I see. Yeah. Well, kind of like what we already touched on with the whole subtitle thing. Like the Bollywood you brought up, like in their own country, handle it fine. But if someone to adapt that in a different one, it would come across.
Yeah, I mean, and we see plenty of that. Like in the original Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, he's British and he's playing an American person, and you could kind of hear it, and it just feels absurd.
Oh, Tom's the same.
You can also hear it a little bit there, but he did do a better job, and I think that's because they learned from some of their mistakes in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Two different companies, though, or studios.
Very. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is a way more believable one than I think the previous two. Like, no slight against Tobey Maguire, but what the hell?
All right, you opened that Pandora's box. Now we gotta talk about Spider-Man. All right, I want to know, who's your favorite Peter Parker? Or, not favorite, but who portrays Peter Parker the best to you? Who portrays Spider-Man the best to you? And we'll just go with those two to save time.
I mean, Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker, I'd say, because he does correctly have the vibe of, like, I would get bullied in school. I don't believe for even a second someone would try to bully Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker.
He's too cool.
No, he's way too cool. And he's also, like, way too attractive to be subjected to what Peter Parker gets.
Does he have glasses?
No, I don't think he does.
Oh.
I don't even think they gave this guy glasses. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man isn't... He's not that he has... He's just poor. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, just a poor guy.
That's his main, like... It's not that he's unattractive necessarily. It's that he's poor. He gets bit by the spider and he just goes home. And he's, like, rolling around in bed, having terrible editing. Like, there's a skull that just pops up on screen. Like,
it's very Sam Raimi. Very scary.
Oh, my God. It's the most Sam Raimi. But, like, he's just poor. That's it. His biggest fatal flaw is that he's poor. He has no money. That's it. It's not that he has no social skills. I mean, I can't say if he has good social skills because everyone is acting absurd.
Yeah. I think, for me, I think Toby does a better Peter Parker of being an awkward nerd and not knowing the social cues and everything. Tom Holland is more of a nobody in the corner. Like, not in the limelight.
And I feel like for a modern Spider-Man, that works better. Because
it's more relatable, I think.
Oh, very much so.
There's not many Poindexters walking around schools nowadays being shoved in lockers, but...
No, I feel like that's kind of... It's not that it's stopping by any means. Bullying is still very much alive and well. Yeah. However, the kind of, like, we're making fun of you because you have high water pants, which is poor, and also because you know too much stuff. No, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Listen.
Well, I think in Homecoming, like, MJ just goes like, you're talking to yourself by yourself. And they're like, well, you have no one to talk to. And she goes, touche. And like...
Yeah, like, real recognizes real on that one. They're both wildly uncool.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more relatable and more inherently likable. But that makes sense given, like, who's directing what. Because I'm pretty sure the people who directed the Tom Holland, like, the original, like, Homecoming, were the same people who directed Freaks and Geeks.
Yes, it was either directed or written. I think it was written by the people in Freaks, or the
Yeah,
one of the
it
main
was
guys in
involved.
Freaks and Geeks
Yeah.
wrote Homecoming, I think.
Yeah, no, I think I heard that somewhere. But like Sam Raimi, he wrote a good Spider-Man for being Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
I mean, damn.
I think he really did a lot more with the villains. I mean, Toby was good with what he was given of the Sam Raimi, but
Yeah.
the villains of Goblin, Doc Ock, and Venom.
No, the most iconic I think some of those villains have ever been. The only reason I give a single crap about Green Goblin is because of that performance. Like, because it's
so good they had to bring him back for No Way Home.
Yeah.
They didn't recast.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool about Spider-Man movies. They don't recast the villains. Those are the set villains they go with. I don't know if that's just a theory I have, but I really like the idea of it. That those are the villains they go with.
The iconic J. Jonah Jameson comes from the Sam Raimi movies, right?
That's where it started. But then they added a variant version of him in the MCU where he's kind of more
but
balding.
that's where it came from. I'm sorry, I was having a lapse in memory because you got to understand they made the same movie 3 times. So at some point it all kind of blends together a little bit where you're like, did he come from like the Amazing Spider-Man or the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
No. J.K. Simmons was not in the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But in the first Tobey one, he was. And he
also,
is, as people say, best
God,
casting.
J.K. Simmons has been so pigeonholed because of his performance in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
The tad.
Oh my God, they
bit.
keep
I don't
getting
know,
him
J.K.
to play the same guy.
J.J. Jonah Simmons a bit different than Omni-Man. But
I mean, they have the same mustache.
yeah, well.
And it looks just as bad on Omni-Man.
I don't know. I don't know if it looks bad. It looks very dad. It's him blending in. He's an alien. He's got to be a dad.
I may not be crazy about Invincible, but I think we all deep down have a soft spot for Omni-Man and J.K. Simmons just doing this thing. And that's why we keep making him do the thing. He will show up to the function and you'll be like, do the thing, do the thing, do the
Yeah. And he's got the quotes.
Yeah.
And then you got Avatar, and you got Kung Fu Panda 3? Yeah. It was Kai, I think.
I don't remember that. But then again, I don't remember very much from Kung Fu Panda 3, to be honest.
Don't blame you. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not the first one.
No. A lot of people are big fans of Kung Fu Panda 2, but I just can't get into it. It's not...
Hey, high five. I agree. Kung Fu Panda 2 is not... It's very mid. It's a very middle-of-the-road movie. So many people are high on it. I don't agree. I don't see it.
Tai Lung was a more compelling villain than Shen.
Absolutely. Shen failed. Pandas still exist. He did not kill them all. He's a failed villain.
Yeah.
I don't know what people say about him. He did not achieve his goal. Absolutely not.
Unlike Tai Lung, most of Shen's problems, if not all of Shen's problems, could have been solved by just sitting down and cracking open a cold one. Just calm down.
Yeah, he had a tantrum against his parents, and then you're just like, kill them all.
Didn't he kill his parents?
Maybe at the beginning, like he burns them in a building.
Neither of us can remember if he killed his own parents. That feels important.
Kung Fu Panda 2, not as good as everyone says.
No. A lot of people really love it, and they say Shen's a compelling villain. I think that, here's my hot take, the one from earlier.
Everyone loves that.
Yeah, the thing that everyone loves that I don't agree with, I think Shen is a bad villain. And this is coming from somebody whose entire adult life is surrounded by birds.
Ooh, yeah. But Gary Oldman's performance as Shen is very good.
Yes. Yeah, I can't argue, no. But voice acting is its own unique beast.
But true, but still giving life and breath into a character.
The currently airing Chick-fil-A, like, evergreen forest, garbage trash tier animation. There's like a show they've released that I was subjected to.
Yeah.
I was subjected to because YouTube decided to play an entire episode for me in an unskippable ad.
Oh, that stinks.
I couldn't see it. The voice acting is not bad. But when I finally did get to lay eyes on the animation, it's bad. It's bad. It's really...
Chick-fil-A.
It's made by Chick-fil-A.
That's so weird.
Yeah. That's what they're doing right now. For Christmas, they're airing a TV show.
Odd
Very.
choice. Hey, maybe it's a marketing idea they thought of, but I
mean... They make a mean chocolate chip cookie. I don't know. I don't go there, though, because, they don't like...
Yeah.
They don't like me, and I don't like them.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
I guess go back to On Track.
Yeah, sorry, we've derailed so hard.
favorite Spider-Man. Who plays Spider-Man the best?
That's a tough one. Because I want to throw some of the animated ones into this. But
Ooh. I didn't consider it, but I'm going to still narrow it down to the 3 live.
I know. I can't pick an animated one, even though there's some really good contenders.
I know. A lot of people would want to say Jake Gyllenhaal. But
Who's your favorite actor that plays Spider-Man? Tom Holland. Weird answer. Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah. Does he play Spider-Man? I've never uncovered this before. A man that actually threw out someone that doesn't play Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, and
was that
also...
Jake Gyllenhaal? No, my mistake. Chris Pine. He did the Christmas one and Into the Spider-Verse.
Merry Christmas. It's a Chris Pine.
Yeah.
But I think... Gosh. I mean, it's hard to say, because I want to say... I want to say Tom Holland, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
All right, well, for me, it's Tobey. Tobey's still the best
Tobey
Spider-Man.
is good, but he's mostly good because he's playing off of really good villains.
Yes, but that still makes him a good Spider-Man.
That's
really
true. You got me there.
Garfield, I think, is fine. Tom, I don't like because he's Iron Man Jr.
Garfield's he's bad. He's too chatty.
No, he's fine.
He's
I
too
think that's
chatty.
fine. The quips are good.
No, they're
Especially
not.
in Amazing Spider-Man 2,
gonna disagree with you.
he's very animated with his body because you can't see his face, and I think that's really good.
No, you're
He's
right on that. I have to give you that. But I'm gonna argue when Electro, like...
Again, his villains aren't as strong as the Tobey ones.
You're so right.
So,
Again,
that doesn't mean his Spider-Man's bad. It just makes the Spider-Man better in the Tobeys.
He's fighting the Rhino, and he's over here flirting with some random civilian, like, you're my eyes and ears out here.
He's talking to the kid. It's very nice. The kid's trying to stand up to the Rhino. He's a role model.
Listen, man, I just...
Look,
yeah.
I think it's good. I think Tom is the worst Spider-Man because it's Iron Boy Jr. Don't like it.
You
I don't like how
it?
he relies on Iron Man. He has all these gadgets. He's not learning from himself. He's learning. He has an AI voice.
I felt it was somewhat accurate to the original comic book run because he's in the comic books is bad at everything, including being Spider-Man.
Learns.
Yeah.
Homecoming's better because he's just your neighborhood Spider-Man. But I don't like that he gets like an iron suit and he's got like kill mode activated and he's got taser webs that he didn't develop.
You don't like the MCU encroach onto this.
Yes.
And I
don't like
fully
the Iron Man
that.
connected. I really like the end of No Way Home where he's on his own. He made his own suit. He's doing his own webs. He doesn't have anything connected to Stark.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's a really good looking suit. But
yeah.
I don't want to go into another whole tangent on Spider-Man suits.
We simply must move on. I say Tom Holland is good, but I understand that makes me sound like a MCU fanboy. I am not, and I also agree that Iron Man, as much as I love the mentor figure kind of trope, it's a little bit too much.
You had Ben Parker, and I like in Homecoming that it's like, you already know the story. We don't have to tell you another story. But who's Ben Parker in that movie? Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's just there. Like, they just have him. They had their cake and they ate it too.
And then Far From Home, he's dead. So it's like dealing with the death, which is Ben Parker. And
they just replayed it beat for beat after promising us that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Which is exhausting.
Not a big fan of.
But, yeah. So Sam Raimi, I mean, you've convinced
That's my number
me.
one.
You've convinced me. You've provided a compelling argument.
Yeah. Even in No Way Home, even for how small Tobey's in that movie, I think he's still great. Great Spider-Man.
I just think Tobey Maguire's a little bit obnoxious, but that's just personal taste.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
It's just personal taste.
Yeah. You up for a game?
Do I have a choice? This feels like a Jigsaw thing.
Well,
Let's go for it.
Okay, that's funny. A past person asked me if this is a Jigsaw thing.
Yeah, you really do pitch it like,
I don't mean
to play a game.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean to get all creepy about it.
Inside of your eye is a key.
Would you like to play a game?
That is Venom. That is not at all.
No, that's not Jigsaw.
That is not at all.
People are going to think that's edited. It's not.
That's not Billy at all.
No. Anyway, this game is, I don't really know. I guess I'm going to call it Kaiju of the Hill. Kind of like King of the Hill, but Kaiju of the Hill.
Oh, dear God.
And I have a list of 25 different monsters and robots and everything because I know you're a big fan of Godzilla. And you really like fights. The
listeners will not perceive of the Clark Kent ripping your shirt open thing I'm about to do, but
Oh, that's a Godzilla shirt.
I have a Godzilla t-shirt on, and
Oh,
I
you're
did just rip this shirt up.
You're prepared.
Just to do that. I didn't know this was going to happen in advance. I'm just a fanboy.
That's great. That's great. So I got 25 different monsters that'll be paired, and we're going to go from 1 to 1. So like number 1 and number 2. And you're going to tell me of those 2, if they got in a fight, who would win. Then the winner moves on to the next, and the winner gets to fight the next person. But in the new fight, it's not like they fought like 5 people in a row. It's just like a fresh new fight.
People are going to disagree with me so hard
That's
on this.
totally
Let's
fine
go.
because
Let's
I'm asking
go.
you.
Let's go.
And going from the list from 1 all the way to 25, the whatever's being chosen is going up in height in feet. That is how I raised it.
What the heck?
So like
I barely understand the rules of this game. Let's do it.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to do that so it's not like a power level or a weight class or anything. It's just like the first 2 options you have are. Let me go like that for audio. Try not to spoil yourself by looking through. You have Gantu from Lilo and Stitch
Aye.
against King Kong from the Peter Jackson King Kong.
Okay,
Gantu is 20 feet tall. King Kong's 25 feet tall.
My first immediate issue with this team up is Gantu's main is a gun.
Well, that's another thing we can bring in, which I want you to decide. Do these characters have the weapons they have? Because there's some that have like
he's such a cop. Of course he would. I
Okay.
mean, but like if he didn't, Kong would win. But if he did, he has a chance. Because the whole thing is like Gantu is indeed a formidable fighter. We see him throw hands a couple of times, if I'm remembering correctly, from the Lilo and Stitch like TV show. We see him trash a couple of things in that show. But at the same time, he does not have freaking gorilla strength. Okay?
That's true.
That is a gorilla.
That King Kong takes a T-Rex and cracks its jaw open.
Yeah, he would body this guy. So he has to have a gun or he doesn't stand a chance. I'm still
But
saying
how much damage would the gun do?
I mean,
because I think he shoots Stitch with the gun. But then again, Stitch is completely different.
Well, and also it's a Disney movie, so they can't have people's heads explode the way that they
That's
can in a
true.
King Kong movie.
That King Kong movie is very gruesome.
Yeah, because it's not meant for small children to watch a fluffy animal get disemboweled.
So, your vote's on King Kong?
Unfortunately, I sorry, Gantu. Just because of who made you and how much they nerfed you, you were never going to stand a chance against a gorilla!
All right. Gantu's out. King Kong moves on. And now we have King Kong against Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Why would you do this to me?
And Clifford is also 25 feet tall.
Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this
If
to
they
me?
got in a fight, who's going to win?
Did you know that in the wild, leopards in Africa are so shell-shocked by chimpanzees that they will run if you play chimp clip, like the sound of a chimpanzee around them?
I did not know that. Do you think that's how Clifford would act?
Absolutely. We use the word ape shit for a reason.
That's true.
These animals are the worst. I mean, he's just a dog. Unfortunately, man versus dog is a fight that happens pretty regularly.
And man loses a couple times.
He loses, but he doesn't have gorilla strength
But
and
gorilla
gorilla
versus
teeth.
dog, yeah. But the dog's as big as the gorilla.
As tough as it is, the dog only has one method of attack, really, and it's the bite. So if he gets a good bite in, but the gorilla has, like, the hands.
Kong's gonna do the jaw thing.
Yeah, he's gonna use his hands, so he's gonna win. Because, again, and I hate to, because it's gruesome, but Clifford's got a collar on.
Ooh, good point.
He's gonna choke the crap out of that dog.
You know what? Good point. You Gantu with the gun, Clifford with the collar.
They got him. They got him by the collar. It's not. I'm sorry, Clifford. I loved watching your show as a kid.
That's fine. That's fine. On to the next. King Kong's still in the running.
I want him gone.
We have King Kong against Black Goliath of Marvel, who goes up to a height of 25 feet. So they're still matched height.
And now, I'm not familiar with this one.
Okay. Did you see What If Season 2? The Marvel show?
And I don't think so, because you showed me What If Season 1.
Okay. There's an episode in Season 2 where if the Ravengers put Peter Quill with Ego, it didn't keep him. And Peter Quill comes to Earth in the 80s, and they have Goliath in that where he grows super tall. But unless you've read the comics, but he's just a tall guy.
Capping out at 25 feet, which is close to, if not the same height as Kong. Kong's still going to take it, because again, you can't, it's a gorilla. That's a gorilla. this is a man. He doesn't have a supersized gun. He doesn't have a supersized, like,
I mean,
anything.
that's a good point. There's people in real life who are taller than gorillas, and I think the gorilla would still
learned
win.
from the Cincinnati Zoo that a gun is a good option.
All right, okay. Ooh. All right, moving on. Next fighter we have is Optimus Prime.
Optimus.
And Optimus Prime is 28 feet tall.
No, I'm saying Optimus would take it.
Easily?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just, hey.
Here's the thing. Because you've got the Transformers, like the Michael Bay Optimus Prime up on
That's
screen.
the image here, but...
You've got the Michael Bay one, and the Michael Bay one can definitely take some damage. Because the gorilla would prioritize the face, as they do in the wild, and that's not actually the part you're gonna want to...
Can a Transformer operate without their head? Like,
yeah, I would assume.
If you decapitate a Transformer, are they still mobile?
In the Michael Bay universe, yes. In the actual Transformers canon, I'm not sure.
I don't know. In the Michael Bay, I think...
Yeah, I think you could.
Doesn't Megatron rip one of them in half and kills them? But that's at the waist?
Yeah, but the core is at their core. So if you rip someone in half, that is their center. That's like the brain that's operating the whole thing. So it makes sense that the whole thing would go kaput. If you remove the head, I think it could still function. And the problem is that he wouldn't immediately go for he'd go for the face rip move, right? But
Kong, I think he'd go for dismemberment on the limbs. Especially if this Optimus, if you're giving him his sword or his arm cannon.
I mean, Optimus has too much potential to work with here, because even if he loses one arm, he still has a majority metal body to work with. I feel like that provides a tactical edge on Kong, who is just made out of squishy, flesh. Unfortunately, in a fight between a giant truck and a giant gorilla, I think the truck's gonna win.
Okay. Kong is out. He had a good run.
Didn't he fight Mechagodzilla?
Maybe?
You didn't see that movie, did you?
I guess not.
So yeah, for Mechagodzilla reasons, I'm gonna say that Kong would need some help. Right. What the hell is that?
Well, next you have Optimus Prime still in the running here against Rockbiter, who is 30 feet tall. And Rockbiter's from Neverending Story.
I don't remember him from Neverending Story at all, but then again, I was very sad about the horse, so I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
What can I say? That horse took me out of that whole movie. I remember there was a wolf that's like, I am the darkness that will pursue humanity forevermore, and there was a horse that died. That's what I remember.
Gamorrean Artax.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And there was a dragon. It's Falkor. I remember Falkor. Oh, yeah. I remember the wolf. I remember the horse.
That's a good movie to watch when you're sick.
No, it's not, because I watched it when I was sick originally. And
it's a good one.
I was too young. But, so his whole thing is he eats rocks?
He eats rocks, and he's 2 feet taller.
Does metal count as a rock?
I'm sure Rockbiter could bite Optimus Prime. I don't know if it would pierce it because it's transformium or whatever. I don't know what the...
According to Avatar The Last Airbender, all metal has impurities in it, and those impurities count as Earth. So using that lot...
But Optimus Prime isn't from Earth! Well, also, Rockbiter's not from Earth either. I don't know what Neverending Story is from. I don't remember.
Neither of them are from this world.
Yeah, that's true.
And he can turn pretty successfully into a regular Earth truck. So I'm going to apply the regular Earth rules of, Rockbiter probably wins because he could eat Optimus.
Okay.
He would eat that guy.
And you don't think Optimus could, pierce Rockbiter?
Fork and knife, yum yum.
Okay.
I mean, he could maybe pierce Rockbiter, but I don't know if Rockbiter has flesh under all that rock, because I don't remember Rockbiter.
Great question. I don't think he ever gets injured. He just sits around eating rocks.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
All right, Rockbiter beats Optimus.
Yeah, that was in a short reign.
Next up, we have the Iron Giant.
Crap.
Against Rockbiter. And Iron Giant is 50 feet tall. So he's an extra 20 feet taller than Rockbiter.
Now, in the context of the Iron Giant, I know that film was made because the director asked the question of what if a gun had a soul. Given that this guy is meant to represent the embodied concept of a gun,
and
it's a rock, paper, scissors sort of scenario where I'm going to say gun beats rock-eating man. I know I just said Optimus would get eaten, but this guy's like so much taller, and also it takes a nuke to kill him, okay? That
I guess that's true. What would you say if Iron Giant and Optimus Prime got in a fight? Who would win of those two?
Oh, everyone's gonna hate me for this, but I think Iron Giant would win.
Okay.
I
mean, he's
'cause he
almost
eats
twice as big.
cars.
He does.
He would also eat Optimus. Oh my god, he eats cars.
These two things eat Optimus Prime.
His natural predator. Oh my god, we've created an ecosystem of cars as the bottom of the food chain.
Do you think Rockbiter would definitely try to eat Iron Giant? Do you think Iron Giant would try to eat Rockbiter?
No, because I don't think there's enough metal.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, he would probably try because he's kind of new at this whole being alive thing, but like...
But when he turns into a weapon form, I don't think Rockbiter's getting through that.
No, I think Rockbiter would lose.
Okay, Iron Giant stays.
But Iron Giant might sweep this whole thing. It depends on what you pick up next.
Well, next up you have Mothra.
Why would you pick the weakest
Well, Mothra's
Toho?
52 feet tall. So 2 feet taller than Iron Giant.
Mothra gets bodied in every
I had to get some kaiju from other versions, okay? I had to get different things around here in pop culture.
In Mothra's introduction, the first thing Mothra does is die. No.
Wow. Okay, well, that was an easy out.
I'm so sorry, Mothra. I love you so much. You're not even good in the NES game. Get out of here.
Next on the docket, we have
now
Valis, which is the first Colossus in Shadow of Colossus.
This is a tough one.
And he is also 52 feet, so he's 2 feet taller than Iron Giant.
This is a tough one. But I'm still going to give it to Iron Giant.
Okay.
Because I killed this guy.
With a toothpick.
With a toothpick.
Comparatively, you can kill it with a toothpick.
One well-placed blow from the Iron Giant, not even in weapon form, I think he'd take it.
Okay.
Because, like, he's got all these different fleshy weak points on him by design.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to say, because I love Shadow of the Colossus, I want to say he'd win, but I don't think he would.
Okay. That's fine. Iron Giant's becoming the new King Kong.
Oh my god, bad Leroy Brown.
Next up, we have the RX-78-2 Gundam.
Now, I'm not familiar with this one.
Which is 59 feet tall.
If you had pulled out an image of Voltron, I would have more context than I would with this one. Because, I don't know, you might as well have just shown me an image. Like, I know Jet Jaguar, I know a bunch of... I don't know this one.
There's iterations where this Gundam has a shield and a gun, if that helps.
Is it a gun that can match the force of a nuke?
Probably not. I don't know much on Gundam, but I just know it's a giant.
Then if you
robot.
don't know it, why would you throw
it's a giant fighting robot. Maybe you knew more on Gundam than I did. I don't know. I know Gundam
I'm a
in
Kaiju
Ready
fan,
Player
not
One.
a Gundam fan. Unfortunately, I can't speak to the veracity of this particular Gundam. But I guess
Are Gundams operated by humans?
Yeah.
Ooh, then Iron Giant might really take it.
Yeah.
Just give the human a one-hit concussion. They can't.
I mean, if we're talking Neon Genesis Evangelion rules, if any damage you do to the Gundam, the human operator sustains, and we're very squishy.
Yeah.
I think it's the same rules in Pacific Rim.
How many G's do you think of force Iron Giant could punch?
His haymaker could probably take out a building.
Oh, that's a squishy human gone.
Very. I mean, just one good blow to the face. I've never understood why they connect the nervous system of a human being to a Gundam.
Iron Giant does have a scene where he puts Hogarth in a car and spins him around.
Yeah, so he has the capacity to be gentle, but we're not talking about him trying to be gentle.
No, we're talking about him staying alive.
Yeah, I think he'd win, but I don't want to upset any fans because, like, I don't know.
Smaug, at this point, you've already upset some fans.
You know what? You're so right.
Mothra was out like that, so don't.
Oh no,
don't
that won't upset anyone. Mothra dies, and that's like her signature move.
I don't know. Clifford was out like that. All those Clifford fans.
I did make a Harambe joke. I've already upset many people.
So Gundam's out?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry, man.
Iron Giant's still going. Next, I had to put it in there. We got
Oh, my
Smaug,
namesake!
the dragon, who is 60 feet tall. I didn't get wingspan or length, but 60 feet tall, which is 10 feet taller than Iron Giant.
Now, I have to do justice to all the Lord of the Rings fans out there. In the books, Smaug is not nearly that big or nearly that big of a deal. He's kind of a background problem.
Ooh, good point. We're using the information from the Hobbit films.
The grossly stretched out for runtime 3-movie Hobbit films.
Yes.
In which, in the first one, he is established to be a standard issue 4-legged dragon. When he finally appears in the second one, that's a true fact. He had 4 legs in the first movie.
Great, and they turn him into a wyvern?
Yeah, because it's hip to have wyverns now. Because
It's
everyone's
hip to have wyverns. It's not hip to call a wyvern a dragon.
It's true. And I think, what's his name?
That was a really
George R.R.
nerdy
Martin.
sentence for me to say.
I think George R.R. Martin said, like, dragons don't make any sense because they've got, like, what animal has 4 legs and wings? And I'm like, what are you?
What are you talking about?
What kind of killjoy are you?
A hippogriff.
None of these things are real. That's the point. If you want to have dragons, have dragons. There's no rules. It's fantasy. What's wrong with you? It's Christmas. What's wrong with you?
Anywho.
I like.
Do you think Iron Giant could pull the wings off Smaug?
Well, he doesn't have to. He just has to hit that one missing scale. Like, clearly.
He does, but Iron Giant's not that intelligent.
No, one good blow could take out Smaug, but the scaly height. The real question is, because the whole
Iron
deal,
Giant can fly.
the whole deal is that none of the people trying to fight Smaug are strong enough to pierce the hide of Smaug.
Yeah.
But the Iron Giant wouldn't actually have that problem because he has the kind of force to just crack his ribs.
Potentially.
Like, you don't have to pierce the dragon, you just have to crush the dragon.
Yeah. But is Smaug smart enough to know if you start unscrewing Iron Giant, he can't function?
Well, Smaug's smart enough to know that fire melts.
Is it hot enough to melt the Iron Giant? He can't.
He
Well, he
survives
takes
being
tank shells.
doused in molten gold.
Smaug, yeah. I meant for the Iron Giant.
So I think I'm making my own argument here. If you can survive molten gold, which is far hotter than what it would take to melt iron, you could probably withstand the temperature needed to melt iron.
But that's the breath of the fire of Smaug.
Yes.
Would that be hot enough to melt gold? Because the gold's melted by the forge in the mountain.
That's a fair point. I think if you're built strong enough to withstand that, then you could probably
output it?
It depends on the mechanics of how the fire is working, but that's getting way too into the weeds on it.
This is getting really scientific for a fight of a big dragon and a big giant.
No. You know what? I wanna, just so we don't have a domination.
Then again, it's your choice.
Just so we don't have a domination of Iron Giant, who I feel could easily sweep the rest of this list based on the established rules of the universe, we're gonna say Smaug takes it, because Smaug has ranged attacks and is able to melt iron. Because this is fantasy, and he already survived melted gold, so why not?
All right, Iron Giant had a good run, though.
Yeah. Now, whoever's up next is probably going to sweep Smaug.
That would be Humongosaur from Ben 10.
Never mind, I take it back. I take it back.
And Humongosaur can get up to 60 feet tall, so just as tall as Smaug.
Yeah, but he's not fireproof, is he?
I don't think so. I think he's just a big dinosaur with the mind of a
10-year-old
teenager.
Yeah.
A teenager. So
Ben's not 10. He just has 10.
Well, this is from Alien Force.
Well,
so he's a little older. But
so a 60-foot tall moody teenager versus a fire-breathing dragon. I know
that wants to kill everything.
Within the context of his own show, he would win. But he's not in his show now, is he? He doesn't have plot armor, because I don't care if that teenager dies. I'm talking about strictly, like, who would win in a fight, like in a matchup. Smaug's gonna take it.
All right. Figured as much.
I'm starting to say Smaug like I say my own name, which I am...
I'm trying to differentiate the two. Smaug is you, Smaug is the dragon. I'm trying.
Yeah, you know.
This next one, I'm sure, is not going to be hard to choose.
And again, mind you, this is the Why? It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow
The
Man.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man who is 100. Oh, I said humongous roar was 60. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is 112.5 feet tall.
Of marshmallow.
Of marshmallow.
Very toastable marshmallow.
Yeah, who gets blasted with ghost rays or proton packs and bursts into flames and falls off a building.
This would be the most upsetting 1v1 to watch because you would toast the marshmallow and then he would liquefy inside and die, and that would suck to watch.
Yeah, but it would be a good smelling fight.
Oh my god. And so tasty too. Toasted to perfection, man. But
Well, who's going to win?
Smaug.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I know this is the visage, like the chosen form of the destroyer of world. Now this is
This is going to be an interesting one. Next up, we have, is it Rodan or Rodan?
Rodan.
Rodan from the Monsterverse, who is 151 feet tall.
Now,
So it's over twice as tall as Smaug.
since the Toho universe is the closest I have to my stomping ground, it's the closest I have to a stomping ground, so I know that in the original debut of Rodan in his own titular movie, titled Rodan, he is taken out by lava, which...
Oh.
He's taken out by lava from a volcano, and that's how one of the Rodan, because there's two of them, one of them dies to that, and the other one just sort of can't do anything to stop it because he's not fireproof. However, in the most recent films, and in more, not even this iteration, but it started happening a while ago, he's been sort of portrayed as like a fire spirit of sorts. This isn't a new development,
Okay.
but it's been a gradual development of gradual fire immunity. And given the size, I think Rodan would take it now, because it's two fire-breathing monsters versus each other. This is within Tolkien's own universe, the biggest threat to a dragon is usually another dragon.
True,
Well,
but I think Smaug
That's technically a lie. The biggest threat to a dragon is usually...
is a hobbit.
Well, no, it's usually like other stronger magic users, and that's why they align themselves with people like Sauron.
Yeah.
So, but
would Smaug be smarter?
no.
Oh.
No, because he's too egotistical. He'd be like, I'm fighting a stupid bird, and then the stupid bird would crack his ribs.
Okay.
I so regret not letting the Iron Giant have it, because again, the ego of just like, this is a cakewalk for a beast like me. I don't have to...
Yeah, but do you think Rodan could take on Iron Giant?
Why must you do these things to me?
I'm just saying, because you're backpedaling on thoughts, so I'm just saying if it's valid now...
Listen, I'm not saying we're going back. I'm sticking to my guns, but I think Rodan takes this one.
All right. Smaug is out of here.
Get out of here, me!
Oh.
It was a nickname I got in high school.
Next, we have Gojira, which
is the classic
Godzilla of 1954, first iteration to screen.
Oh my god.
Who stands 164 feet tall, compared to the Rodan who here is 151.
Now, I have the joy of knowing at least a surface level amount about the history of both of these contenders, and therefore I can give a pretty solid assessment of, like, Godzilla has always taken it in this fight.
Oh.
It's
okay.
a pain, but Godzilla has always taken it.
Okay.
And by taking it, I mean wins. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Just to clarify, what I mean is that Rodan can't really successfully hurt Godzilla that much, so much as Rodan can just, like, peck and annoy.
Yeah. And fly around.
Ironically, if Smaug had made it here, there's some fantastic art from the original 2014 Godzilla. I think it wasn't part of it. It was somebody's speculative art about what they thought the movie was going to be based on the trailer. Kind of the way you and I judged Monster Summer based on the trailer and thought it could be anything. People saw the trailer for the original, like, you know, the legendary film's Godzilla, and they thought, like, it was going to be an apocalyptic kaiju battle.
Ooh, okay.
I've seen art of King Ghidorah ripping a Godzilla to pieces with his little stupid feet and his heads, because he has heads with which to manipulate.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Now, it's such a cool... I've had it saved on my phone for like 10 years. It's so cool. But while Smaug has the ability to grapple things with his little wyvern hands and has like better feet for gripping things, Rodan can only peck and only has like the wings with no grippy fingers and only feet. So Rodan can't really hurt Godzilla in a meaningful way. And generally Godzilla will take it. It's just a difficulty of getting that bastard out of the sky.
Gotcha. And I figured as much. It's the one on your shirt currently.
I mean, I'm not saying he's going to take it all the time. He would probably struggle against Smaug. But he's not fighting Smaug, because we voted Smaug off the island.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Next up, interesting matchup. We now have Godzilla from -1. Who is 0.5 feet taller. So it has 6 inches on the other one.
Godzilla versus Godzilla is something that hasn't happened surprisingly that much. I mean, it has happened before, but typically it's a different iteration, like a Mechagodzilla or Zilla, the Beloved, who's the one.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
The
I don't
98
know.
one.
Yeah, the one. Wasn't Matthew Broderick in
Yep,
that?
he's a scientist who gets worms, and they're like, we need you to find Godzilla.
Yeah. God, I need you to know how much Toho hated that.
Oh. And then it turns into an alien movie with eggs.
Yeah, they hated every bit of that. They hated it so much.
Well, you got these two.
Now, in the original run, I'm going to piss people off here because I'm going to say in the original run, it takes the they have to like strip this guy of all his atoms to kill the original rubber suit Godzilla.
One?
Yeah, but they also didn't have as much technology to play with at the time. They didn't like they had nuclear weapons, but Godzilla was a metaphor for nuclear weapons.
Did that one even have a beam to shoot?
He had a fire breath, yes, and it was an electric beam more than anything because if I'm remembering correctly, it charges up after he comes into contact with power lines.
Okay.
But that said, so much has happened, and -1 Godzilla has so much more plot armor. Probably the reason they couldn't take out the original rubber suit Godzilla is because they didn't. Warfare has advanced so much, so the metaphor of Godzilla as the atomic weapon has changed. Like, it's just changed, because now there's so much more to fear. God, it sucks. But I'm gonna say -1 probably takes it.
Okay.
Just because I feel like if you... -1 exists in the realm of modern warfare, whereas Godzilla exists within the realm of warfare from, like, 100 years ago.
I see. Yeah. But of the time. Scary, I guess, possibly of the time.
It's really hard to quantify how strong he would be in today's sense because the rules of the original Godzilla weren't a big concern. It was mostly a movie about the horrors of war, and in that way, Shin Godzilla is a better metaphor for what Godzilla would be now.
Okay.
Because it's like the horrors of like catastrophic, cataclysmic force. Things that will, like, vaporize a human being.
Gotcha. Okay, so the 6 inches wins.
Yeah, he wins because he plays Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Ah, good point. And Godzilla is now in Fortnite, so.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
So now we have still Godzilla -1 against a colossal titan from Attack on Titan.
You picked the wrong Titan.
Oh, that's not a colossal titan?
No.
Oh.
It's the right one, but this Godzilla wouldn't have held up against some of the other ones.
Oh, I just went with I tried to find the biggest titan because I was going on height.
you reached too close to the sun. This one's not as strong because if I'm remembering correctly in the Attack on Titan lore, he can't walk.
Oh, well, that's great.
So
I'm not a big Attack on Titan fan, so I wouldn't know.
He's so big. That's why he leans over on the wall, is because I don't believe he has like a functional or working lower half, but I can't remember that.
Well, it says his height stands of 197 feet.
He's just like, he's too big. He's not that powerful. There's a couple of Titans that I feel could absolutely take this fight. They could come in clutch here, but at the same time, this isn't that, like the Armored Titan would actually be a tougher fight. Because
I didn't know that.
He Kool-Aid Mans his way through, like, walls made out of flesh.
Oops.
So...
Screw up on my part.
No,
but it is taller than -1.
It's true. It's true. But and you know, Attack on Titan fans, if any of them ever watch this, will probably yell at me that no, the colossal titan could totally take it. No, he did no. From what I remember from my limited knowledge on the lore of Attack on Titan, mind you, a lot of it gets boggled down by the political drama that takes place in season 2. I don't think he's that strong.
Okay. Well, it sounds clearly you're for Godzilla.
Yeah, I wish I could say it's the other guy, but I think if he would lose against the Armored Titan, but he would not win against the Colossal Titan.
Okay.
He also probably wouldn't win against the Beast Titan, but that depends on who's got it. Why would you do this to me?
Because it's a taller version. Next up, we have Zilla from 1998, like we touched on before, who stands 230 feet.
Springs, it's Christmas. Why would you do this to me?
Because it's taller.
I'm just a little guy. And it's my birthday.
You don't think I would have added in a funny joke kind of thing?
Why would you put this affront to Kaiju in front of my face?
This is a whole Kaiju fight, and I'm like, I gotta put in a bad Godzilla.
Obviously, -1's gonna take it, because even Toho thinks this guy sucks, and I've seen them clown this guy. Zilla
well, this
is
one's
now...
Godzilla, this one's a dinosaur.
That's Zilla. Yeah, no. Zilla is the punching bag of the Godzilla universe to this day. So no, -1's gonna take it.
Cool.
I've seen a baby take this thing out in comics and things.
Okay. Nope, no problem with me.
He sucks.
Next you have the Gypsy Danger Jaeger of Pacific Rim. That stands 250 feet tall.
That's a tough one.
It's almost 100 feet taller.
I know. The atomic breath, though, it's a ranged attack.
And this is also 2-man operated.
Yeah.
So take out the humans.
If the humans go out, I can't remember. Do they have ranged attacks, or do they have to walk up and rock his shit?
I saw Pacific Rim once a long time ago. I have not seen the second one. I don't think this version had range. I think it had like a little bit of like rockets or something, but like normal human size, not huge.
You know who would know? He loves that movie. But the problem is I don't remember if he has a counter ranged attack, because if he does have another ranged attack, then -1's only option is to getting closer. And in that, he would lose, probably. Just, if nothing else, due to the size. Because he's still a biological creature. And the whole reason that these Gundam were made was to take out Kaiju. Like, Kaiju of an equal size to -1 at least. Some of them are even bigger than the...
Yeah, than -1, or bigger than the...
Yeah, bigger
Jaeger.
than the Jaegers. But, like, again, the atomic breath is such a problem. I don't know. Because I don't want to make people upset, but I don't know if...
You just don't think you're knowledgeable enough.
No, not at all. But,
okay.
Like, they were built to do this, but I don't know. Because, like, if I keep him into the running in the next round, I don't know what his actual abilities are off the top of my head.
Let's go with Big Rock'em Sock'em.
If it's a Big Rock'em Sock'em, -1 takes it.
Okay. It's best to go with what you know versus what you don't know. Because I'm sure people in the comments down below could be like, oh, you forgot this element, and you forgot this, and this.
Oh, I'm going to be... they're going to
I'll just come to you, and we'll do an episode 2.
They're gonna crucify me. I don't know. You've brought in so many... Oh, my God.
Next, we have Godzilla. I probably will pronounce it incorrectly. The Heisei version? The Heisei? Which stands 262 feet tall.
Godzilla versus Godzilla. It's such a strange matchup.
Is this the Godzilla that does the 2 feet jump kick? Where it's vertical and flies?
I want to pull up my phone and look it up so badly. But I know that I'm Johnny on the spot. I gotta come up with an answer, and I don't think that's the suit. I think that's somewhere in between the original debut of Godzilla and this one that happened. But we're going to...
I mean, this is one somewhere in there, but...
Out of the kindness of my heart, I'm going to assume that the kangaroo kick is indeed within this guy's wheelhouse. So they both have atomic breath, and they both... Well, one of them has the kangaroo kick.
Yeah, I don't think -1 can jump.
No. And on that merit alone, this guy takes it, because he can jump.
Oh.
But he shouldn't be able to, but he can.
Okay. And he's much taller.
God, I think it's Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. He does a fun dance where the guy in the suit shows off like that he can jump and touch his foot with his hand in midair. He does a strange like little jig dance after whooping Space Godzilla's butt. And I have that saved as a GIF on my phone, and I send it to people often. Is this Voltron?
This is Voltron, which stands 328 feet.
Is it the old one or the new one?
This looks like the old one in the image.
Good. The new one would lose because the pilots would be too busy having interpersonal drama to even participate in the fight.
Oh, okay.
They would, from what I remember, it would devolve into an argument over leadership depending upon what point in the story you were at.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say Godzilla takes it because I have no respect for the Voltron after all that remake nonsense. I have
Okay.
Clown on that guy.
Voltron's out of here.
Get out of here.
Next, coming back from the past a bit, just a different iteration, we have King Kong from the Monsterverse by himself. If you want to throw in the axe from Godzilla vs. Kong, you can. If you want to throw in the robotic metal gauntlet arm from New Empire, you can.
Didn't give Gantu a better gun. So he's limited.
Mm-hmm.
He is limited.
But this King Kong stands 335 feet tall.
So is he taller than that Godzilla?
Yes. The Godzilla here is 262, King Kong's 335.
It would be a brutal and close fight, but they did insist in Godzilla vs. Kong that Kong would not immediately die. They did insist. They did say, no, Kong has a chance, just trust us. So based on that being added to the canon, even though I feel like that's a big load of crap, this is technically a fair fight. Technically.
Okay.
Technically. I still think Godzilla should take it, but I have to respect the canon, even if I disagree with it.
Okay.
And in that, since he's taller, King Kong would probably take it, because one of the biggest issues King Kong had in that movie is that he was not.
Yeah, they try to make him equal height in that movie. Actually, a couple iterations, they try to make them equal heights.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah. Now, if this was the first King Kong we started with, absolutely not. 25 feet against this thing? That's yay tall.
Yeah, no, that's up to his knee. He could punch that guy.
Yeah. Okay, so Khan takes it?
I hate to say it. It feels so wrong, but yeah.
Okay.
Again, I don't think that a monkey could survive against five... Is that from Monsters vs. Aliens?
Monsters vs. Aliens, Insectosaurus, who stands
Which
350.
is a reference to Mothra, by the way.
Yeah, 350 feet tall.
Well, he can't really do anything except for spit thread, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's about it. It's a very dumb big creature. And it gets mesmerized by bright lights.
I think Kong would win, but not in a traditional sense, in that I don't know.
It's 15 feet taller.
I don't know that King Kong could do that much to him, but he also doesn't have to, because, like...
Do you think Kong could rip the arms off? Rip off the antennae?
No, I
Poke it
mean,
in the eye?
I don't think that this beast wants to fight at all.
No,
So
I think in the pit, it doesn't know what it's doing.
I think King Kong would be punching the crap out of a pacifist, so if anything, it feels bad.
It does, but Kong would win.
He would.
Yeah.
He would, not because he has any particular advantage, but just because I don't think he'd fight.
Okay, that's totally valid. Kind of easy out, but next we have Godzilla from the Monsterverse, who stands 393 feet tall.
We had an entire movie in which they insisted that this
They both
monkey
lived.
would survive this. They insisted.
So they can get another movie
Yeah,
where they don't fight.
No, and they team up like besties, like Batman versus Superman.
And then
oh
they're in
my
Justice
god!
League. But
I'm
let's
so
rewrite
tired.
history then. You get to choose which one dies.
Godzilla's going to win. I'm so sorry. That is a monkey, and this is a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
For the same reason that the Iron Giant didn't survive that, King Kong should not have survived
Good point.
any of that.
And we have our last one, number 25.
Oh dear God, what are you gonna do to me?
Mechagodzilla, who stands 400 feet tall.
Well, bit of a pity that we just took out King Kong, who was necessary for the defeating of Mechagodzilla in that movie, if I'm remembering correctly. But hey, fun game for the audience at home. Every time I say, if I remember correctly, take a shot. Don't do that. I do not want to be held accountable for any drinking and driving or any drinking and losing function in your liver. Don't do that.
Okay.
But
Smartly so.
listen, I'm wearing a Godzilla t-shirt. I'm not sure what you want me to say here.
Smaug, these are both Godzillas.
Logistically, based on the way that movie insisted that the robot stands a chance, and the way that every movie that has this robot insists it stands a chance, the robot should stand a chance. I just don't care.
Okay.
I don't care about that robot, because it's a cheap man-made imitation of the real thing. Or, well, in the original debut, it is a cheap alien-made imitation of the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a giant atomic bomb with legs for some reason. Which is also technically the horrors of war and man and all that stuff.
Yeah,
We're not talking about the symbolism. We're talking about like a biological organism that eats nuclear radiation versus the cheap knockoff that you got from Wish. I think
that answers who wins.
Yeah, based on my very biased perspective. Yeah, I'd say Godzilla wins.
All right, that makes Godzilla of the Monsterverse at 393 feet tall the winner of the Kaiju on the Hill fight. Now, would you say any of the past contestants we've had could beat this Godzilla?
It is possible for things to stand a chance. As we saw in the original debut of this monster, flying enemies can be flying enemies with enough ability to pierce and to puncture. So Smaug actually might stand a bit of a tough chance against it. I just don't think he has the bite force to do enough damage. Because he could withstand some of the attacks, maybe not a direct hit from the nuclear breath. I mean, like we watched in that movie, Godzilla used his nuclear breath into the mouth of one of those Muto and just beheaded the thing. I think he could do that to Smaug, but it would be it'd be tough. I just don't think, because one of the things on the Muto's side was their general body mass and the sharpness of their limbs, being that with one punch they were able to puncture Godzilla's skin. I don't think, being that he's more flight-oriented, Smaug has that kind of, force. Because he has to be able to get off the ground.
Yeah.
Another solid argument could be made for, again, King Kong, because the movie insists he stands a chance, and with the right weaponry, maybe.
But
maybe.
Also, the classic original film of King Kong vs. Godzilla, they didn't give a solidified ending. They gave two versions of the movie, where in the Japanese version of the movie, at the end, Godzilla lives and walks away in the ocean. But in the American movie that they made, King Kong's the one that walks away.
Which I feel is a cheap cop-out.
Yeah. Americans.
I don't give a crap about our American monkey man. I don't want him. Put him back. He is just a gorilla.
You're Team Godzilla all the way.
I'm literally wearing a t-shirt with Godzilla's face on it right now. I own 2 of them. Of course I like Godzilla more.
Okay.
It's like asking that kid who said, I like turtles. Hey, do you think Gamera would win the fight? Probably.
Well,
Probably. Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. Also, actually, now that I mention it, Gamera might stand a chance.
Well, that's a whole new Kaiju on the Hill.
We'd have to have a round 2.
Round 2?
We'd have to have a round 2.
We've given a couple initiatives of having a round 2 for you to, in the second episode.
The separate remains to be seen.
Who knows? Anyway, we're getting a little over time, but I don't think anyone's necessarily complaining.
I'm so sorry.
No, all good. I have one last question for you before we send off. What is your favorite day of the week?
How did you know I have a favorite day of the week?
It's something I will ask every single guest, and it'll be the last question I ask.
Well, it's weird because you've asked me this before, and it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And you may say to yourself, why? Why would you like Tuesday? And it's because nobody likes Tuesday. It's like the worst day because it's not... Mondays, everyone groans and bellyaches about Monday, so they put their work off, and then you have to work extra hard on Tuesday because now you're a little bit behind. But because of that, Tuesday is where you get the most done in a week, I think. Tuesday is an underrated legend. And to be honest, it's the day when most high school clubs, I feel like, were held. So I met the most people on Tuesdays. And furthermore, honestly, I root for underdogs. If no one else likes Tuesday, I like Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesday it is. Wonderful. Well, that's been this episode of Guest to Know, Lite, quote unquote. Smaug, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah, bye.